I want to relate what used to be a gigantic basketball game tonight. No, not Timberwolves, Lakers, where LeBron's not going to play. I just heard Dan say that. To International Basketball Day. So basketball was invented by Dr. James Naismith. Just one thing, can I just point this out? I don't like people who call themselves doctors that aren't medical doctors. I got it. You got a doctorate, but we don't call you a doctor. And you're like, no, you're like, somebody went to school long enough to get their doctorate. Like, okay, but they do hand out doctorates, ceremonial doctorates to people all the time. If I get a ceremonial doctorate, can I call myself doctor? You're like, well, that's not the same. Is it? Here's the most important thing. You're on an airplane. You're going to Bali, right? You're in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Somebody gets sick.
Is there a doctor on the plane?
Does the doctor in English or in physical education, do they get up and go, I got this, don't worry? No. Do you know why? Because you're not a freaking doctor. You have a doctorate. I'm not the only one who thinks this. We all think it. I'm just the jerk who says it. Okay? That's it. So Dr. James Naismith was not a medical doctor. That's why I call him James Naismith. But here's the other thing. And if you follow my Twitter page, you have an unfair advantage. Bershinger, have you been following my Twitter page today?
Not today.
Okay, good. Dr. James Naismith coached basketball at the University of Kansas. How good a coach do you think he is?
Probably pretty good.
Right? I mean, guy invented the game of basketball.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you invent the game, you probably should be pretty good at it and then really good at coaching it because you know all the tricks to the trade. Hell, you invented it. Right? Like, think of all the games you played. Whoever invented hide and seek, probably the best hider and seeker that there's ever been. Baseball games. Remember Over the Line? You guys ever play Over the Line as a kid? Right? I mean, I guarantee whoever invented Spin the Bottle was kissing all the girls when they were 13 years old. Here's the thing. Dr. James Naismith is a doctor of physical education. He taught at Springfield College. He invented this game of basketball, and he is statistically the worst coach in the history of Kansas basketball. Look it up. He's the only coach to have a below 500 record in the history of Kansas basketball. The game he freaking invented, which does stand to reason like, hey, if you're such a smart doctor and you invented this thing, why not change the rules to fit however you want? That's how I would have done it, right? Just shows he's Canadian. So, oh, dear, why don't you know? He's just so nice there, hey, hoser. Right? Canadians are just so nice that they'll let Americans beat them at the game they invented. Except hockey. They don't let us beat them at that. Anyway, the point is resumes don't really matter. Because if I were to tell you that at a historically great basketball school, the guy who invented the sport was a coach, naturally you would think, based on that resume, he would be an incredible coach, correct? That's a normal parallel. Okay, tonight, Kentucky takes on Louisville. Can I do an aside on Louisville? You've been there a bunch, Bayer, because Bayer's also, you've been to Louisville before. They say Louisville, right?
Yes. Oh. No vowels.
No.
Just L's and V's.
But they are known as the Ville. And you'll even see on signs around town, the Ville. Why isn't it the Wool if it's Louisville? Anyone? You want to guess on that one? Lorena?
I have no idea why they would do that.
I don't either. Ryan?
No, I got nothing.
Bayer, you got anything for me?
Nothing.
No, me neither. Doesn't make any sense. And I'm not patronizing. Like, this is a real thing. You ask someone, no, it's not Louisville. It's Louisville. Like, okay, then why is it the Ville, not the Vol? That doesn't make any sense to any human being. 2 years ago, they hired Kenny Payne. And again, not saying this to be a jerk, just saying it because, well, it's true. Kenny is a really nice man. Okay? He just is. A really nice man. He was a very good player at Louisville when he played for Denny Crum. He's a first-round pick. He played for the Sixers for a couple years, played overseas a little bit, and then became an assistant at Oregon and was an assistant under John Calipari at Kentucky. And when he was an assistant under John Calipari at Kentucky, this is when they were bringing in John Wall. And I'll go into my can I do my Dick Vitale? Because Dick Vitale's had the throat surgery, so we haven't heard him. So this is a shout out to Coach Vitale. Oh, you talk about Kentucky and John Calipari. He brought in John Wall, and he brought in DeMarcus Cousins, and Anthony Davis, and they won a national championship. Oh, it's awesome. He was the head recruiter for John Calipari, right? He played at Louisville and was a really good player, and he's a great dude. And one would think in college basketball, like, what do you need to be successful? Okay, well, you need money for NIL. Louisville has it. Okay. You need facilities. Unbelievable. They play Yum Center. If you've been there, beautiful arena. It's basically an NBA arena. Really cool. A couple bars in there, like inside. It's neat. Great on-campus facility. An administration that's all in. Oh, here's one. You need a league, okay, that can help draw players, but also you can win in. And remember, we're in the ACC where right now Syracuse is in rebuild mode because Jim Boeheim, the end wasn't great, so they're rebuilding. North Carolina a couple years ago was crummy, right? I know they went to the national championship 2 years ago, but before that, and last year they didn't make the NCAA tournament. Okay, Duke changed coaches. Virginia won the national championship a couple years ago, but they haven't been the same, right? The rest of the league's just okay. You got smaller schools, hard to compete. They have money. They have history. They have facilities. Oh, yeah, you need players. Well, you would think the guy who helped John Calipari recruit, and Anthony Davis and Eric Bledsoe, and right? You would think that guy would probably help you. In his year and a half at Louisville, he's 9-34. 9-34. 2-19 last 2-19 overall in ACC play. He is statistically the James or Dr. James Naismith of Louisville basketball. And yet, had you looked at his resume, you'd be like, that guy's a great hire. Loves his school, great guy, good recruiter, been around Calipari, knows the deal, was in the NBA, connected with all those people. We got money, we got facilities, the league's kind of down. It's going to win. And it has been a complete poop show. The point is that 'tis the season for hiring coaches, especially in football. And we're so convinced that we know if somebody's going to be good because they coach with somebody. And I give you James Naismith. I give you Kenny Payne. Sports aren't decided on paper. Coaching success isn't decided based upon your resume. Okay? There's a lot of stuff that goes into it. But if you think like this is going to work because, he coached with, and then, Brandon Staley, right? I know he hadn't been in the NFL long, but he was with the Bears. Remember when he was with the Bears and they had Khalil Mack, they had the dominating defense. He was Vic Fangio's right-hand guy. Then he goes to the Rams and young staff, they win a Super Bowl. He's the defensive coordinator. And he's Mr. Analytics, and we're smarter than everybody else. We're going to go for it on fourth down. And how did that work out? And his resume wasn't great because he hadn't been in the NFL a long time. But stop with the resume stuff. Like, yes, sometimes guys do have the resume. They have learned from the right guy, and that works. But there's just as high a percentage of people that don't work.